choir. What I believe about persons with a same-sex attraction and the dynamic of that attraction itself. Biblical inerrancy. The Reverend Jesse Jackson. My brother Tommy. These are some of the things and people about which I have changed my mind. What are some of the persons or things you have changed your mind about? Because everybody changes their mind sometimes, right? You may have even changed your mind about your Christmas list. Well, what goes into changing our minds? Learning something new? Experience. The opinions of influential people in your life. A tragedy, or disappointment, or a miracle. Have you ever changed your mind so profoundly that what was really happening was not that your mind changed about this or that, but that you changed? Like who you were in college, if you got to go to college or chose to go to college, is not quite who you are later on. And who you are now runs your thoughts and runs more than your thoughts. Like your inner nature has changed. Before I get too deep too fast, let's take a look at someone who changed their mind this morning. Joseph. In the Gospel according to Matthew, as read by Karen, Joseph changed his mind. Joseph finds out that Mary is pregnant. She says it's from the Holy Spirit per the encounter with the Archangel Gabriel. We presume she told him this. What was in his mind? Her husband Joseph, really fiancé, I'll get into that in a moment. Her husband Joseph, being a righteous man and unwilling to expose her to public disgrace, planned to dismiss her quietly. They were not married yet, but in that culture and in that time, couples that were betrothed to each other were so publicly, and they were then subject to some of the things married people were. Like, if you wanted to break the engagement, you go through a divorce. It can be quite embarrassing if one of the two had been caught in a compromising condition that triggers the end of the engagement, which is at least part of what Joseph wanted to avoid. But nevertheless, Joseph's plan, his intent, was to stop being her fiancé, her future husband. Emotions are not given here, but his intention is. What happened? He changed his mind. Well, how did that happen? In this case, he dreamed. An angel of the Lord appeared to him in that dream. And he changed Joseph's mind, not only to get the legal divorce for engaged couples, he changed his mind about that, but in the larger sense, to do what God wanted. To agree, to play his essential role in the plans of God. The angel ended up bringing Joseph to a point where there was an early version, unspoken, of the prayer of Jesus in Gethsemane. Not my will, but thine. Often Mary is praised, and rightly, for her faithful obedience to the plan of God as told her by Gabriel in the Annunciation. She has a not my will, but yours be done experience. But it is not only Mary who submits to God's purposes. Joseph changes his mind so that he does too. He submerged his agenda to that of the holy. Well, how did this happen? Again, that question. How did this happen? How did Joseph start to become Joseph? First, the angel called him by name. Dream or not, the best way to get almost anyone's attention is to call their name. It's a personal appeal. In this case, by an agent of the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob and Moses, Joseph. But the angel does not stop there, we know. Joseph, son of David. Hey, Joe, you're going to divorce Mary, but remember who you and your tribe are. The tribe from which the Messiah is to arise, the tree of David. And you are a son of David. You're a descendant. Remember this and think that it might apply to what's happening in your life right now in the eyes of God. We're dealing with prophecy here, Joe. Prophecy that speaks to your bloodlines. Bloodlines from which Moshiach is to come. This is who you are. Don't be blind to what Mary is telling you. It matters, Joseph, that you are a son of Dawid, a son of David. The angel is not done. Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. The angel knew Joseph. Joseph was operating out of fear. Fear is a powerful, insidious, and often hidden driver in who we are and why we do a lot of the things we do or do not do. As in, do everything we can in the world to keep from having to do it. Have you ever thought, and maybe you have, maybe you've done this, have you ever thought of taking a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper and start writing down your fears? And think about them before writing them. Because fears can go pretty deep, and as I said, can be hidden. An easy example, I'm afraid of clowns. They intimidate me, and they have since I was a kid. A not so fun example, I'm afraid of being rejected. That leads me to act in certain ways. I had a hard time asking girls out because I was afraid of rejection. I have a fear of public humiliation. I have a fear of losing the respect of my family. Joseph probably had those too, come to think of it. These are beneath the surface, but affect what I do and do not do in certain circumstances. And they can also be obstacles to doing the right thing. Not all fears are invalid or are obstacles. Fears can be wise, they can be protective. But I'm talking this morning about fear like Joseph's fear, which stood in the way. His fear stood in the way of stepping out in faith and sticking with Mary. Some folks here may have been afraid that a year and a half ago our voting to become an open and affirming congregation would lead to members leaving. Others feared that if we did not so vote, we'd lose other members and friends. Our faith can often wrestle with our fears, but I believe we did the right thing. And I believe most of the congregation did, since it was a 40-5 vote to so become O&A. Fear. What are you afraid of? How do those fears shape what you do or do not do? Particularly with regard to relating to others. Do they stand in the way of us doing the right thing? Why do we have fears? We like to think we are self-reliant. I think it's human nature. You know, I can do this. I got this. God, I don't need you. I'm self-reliant. Then why do we have fears? We like to think we're self-reliant, but we do not. But we do have fears because self-reliance has failed us. Sometimes at key points. Self-reliance, I think, is one reason why we have fears. And if that's true, then in faith, when we cannot have self-reliance, we rely first on God instead. lean to do God's will. We ask God to remove our fear and to direct our attention to what God would have us be and what God would have us do. And as we ask God to remove our fears that may be standing in the way, we can begin to outgrow that fear. I believe that our awareness of our fears, whatever they might be, added to our faith in God, is a step towards liberation into becoming more the you God made you or me to be. Joseph's fear-powered mind, because of the dream, he made a switch and let God direct his will instead. Do not fear to take Mary as your wife, for the child in her is conceived by the Holy Spirit. Now, and in the future, when God's will comes to you, let us let God direct our will instead of our fears directing our will. Do it enough. Surrender our fears to God's desire for the good that we can do. And that first nature, that first instinct, the knee-jerk nature of fear, which binds you and me, can eventually become first nature faith and following God's desires by the grace of God. When Joseph awoke from sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took her as his wife. He changed his mind. Not only did he take her as his wife, not only did he overcome his fears of how people would react, what it would do to his reputation, and that of the son in her womb, and what his family would think, and so on, but he also kept her as a virgin until Jesus was born. This means he was all in. This wasn't I guess. I'm going to set parameters, though. He was all in. His very nature, perhaps, had begun to change. He was personally addressed. Joseph! He was brought to remember the legacy of his tribe and its significant role in future salvation history. The angel let him know that, yes, the problem was Joseph's fear. He had to overcome that. He had to ask God to help him overcome that. He had to believe that it was time to put his fearful will down and take up God's purposes for the good. He changed his mind and heart, maybe his nature, to the extent God's will became the first choice, and his fears became the second or even third. He was becoming Joseph. He was becoming the Joseph God needed and created him to be. The same can happen to me and you. And when that does, when our first nature is, what's God going to do? We are more ready for Christ's birth. And that's good news.